Yeah, the app's been amazing. So I've been doing a lot of like interviews and stuff just through the phone because the camera on the iPhone 7s is just like really good. The clarity is really nice. And it's just like, oh, it's easier to use. And then like if let's say if like because supposed to have like heavy rain today, so I'd hate for like the power to go out. At least
Mm.
my phone will still work and it can still transmit.
That's a good call. A little bit of prepping.
Yeah, because like I remember when I was doing one and just so happened to be during a thunderstorm and then everything cuts out and I was like, oh shit, man. So it's just easier just to get on the phone and use an app.
Well, right on. Well, guys, we are live with you, me, and us, and very happy, special, trollful guest today in Classy Grappler. How's it going, Classy?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on, brother.
No, it's my pleasure. So, for people who somehow still don't know who you are, Classy Grappler is probably, as far as the BJJ community is concerned, the foremost comedic troll that you're going to find in any comment section. I have seen more not safe for work memes come from you than I think anybody else in BJJ. I can only imagine what your search history looks like when you're trying to find the material to put Tom DeBlass's face on a midget in a Speedo.
Oh, God. Yeah, my literally like my internet bar like threw up on me once. It's you know what, and the great thing about it now is the community's so into it beforehand. Like before, I used to get a lot of it. I'll explain later and go into the history of Kit Dale later. But like now, people actually will send me posts and tag me on photos of stuff to troll, which is truly amazing. But yeah, my internet history is bad. My Facebook inbox is horrible.
I
It's like
bet.
the stuff people send me, and my wife once asked, she goes, "Why are you laughing so hard?" And I was like, "All right, if you really want to go down this rabbit hole," and I
Uh,
showed her some of the videos people sent me, and she's like, "Oh my, I never want to look at your shit again." And she's like, "Close
yeah.
it."
Yeah, I believe that. You know what's strange is I've been doing. I mean, I've as far as because Jitsu is concerned, that profile has been rising quite a bit for the last couple of years. But the inbox has been generally clean. Like mostly people just sending me like ideas for memes and meme templates and stuff like that. But today, of all days, the day that I get Classy Grappler on, I got my first legit unsolicited dick pic.
Oh,
Just the
yes.
first thing in the morning checking it's got one of those requested DMs that you have to click the picture to unfuzzy it. I'm like, oh, let's see what meme this. Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's another thing I get now that people like I don't like publicize my Instagram or anything like that. I really just do it for my friends and just like the jiu-jitsu community. So I never like try to post where I really don't care about that. Like 'cause to me social media is just one big joke as it is. And I never worry about followers or like who to impress or who's going to get disgusted by it. But what's really funny are the really cool inboxes that I'll get are like from like women in the community that like I really look up to that are in jujitsu and they're like, oh my God, I just opened up Instagram at my work and everybody was behind me and I saw one of your dick pictures and they used to start laughing, but they said it was completely hilarious. I got to remind myself not to open up your social media while I'm at work, which is just amazing. The fact that in today's society where it's like almost like everybody gets triggered, it's really cool to see like people of different ages, races, and classes come together and just share the same, I guess, humor I have, whether it be bizarre or not. The fact that I can affect those people and they just that one little click will cheer them up that day. It brings a smile to my face and I start
Well, I think that you're probably the example, the best example of once you get your black belt, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
laughing. But I think it's when you get your black belt because I've been doing this since '95. So I've kind of been there since the start, like before it really got popular in the States. Like I remember like when I started, hell, I had to fly out. My first place was like Henzo in like '95 and '96. I went up there and I think Matt and Nick Sarah just got like their purple belts.
Damn.
And like to go there and to just get like close to what they used to call like close to the source and see like Henzo was there at every class teaching at night and Matt and Nick there were teaching during the day. You had people like Rodrigo Gracie that was just a brown belt at the time they were training and just go there and just get obliterated. I got beat up by like some 15-year-old blue belt there, which was just fucking amazing. I was just like, oh my God, I got to do this. And then, but when you get there and you have all these great high level guys on the mats, then you go back to where you were from. And I was in Virginia at the time
Okay.
Nothing but white belt. We were literally training off of movies,
Yeah.
videos that my buddy he used to get on AOL, American Online. And
Wow.
he would get into these Brazilian chats and like ask people, hey, does anybody speak English? And you generally find one. And he would ship down American Blue Jeans to get VHS tapes
Oh,
of
damn.
like just grappling tournaments stuff in the 90s. And we would watch that and try. It was no instructional videos. We literally try to emulate that and learn. And
Wow.
one of the first guys to really get me into it was a guy named Paul Creighton. Really guy, big in Atlanta, fought in the UFC, fought BJ Penn. Amazing guy. Him, Chad LeBron. It was kind of like there was a few of us, like the four horsemen that started kind of in Radford, Virginia, Radford University. And he's the one that got me onto Henzo. And it's just been a great journey ever since. And I think when you start, I mean, you really pay your dues. I've been doing it like 22 years, going on 23 years.
Yeah, that's a
So
long time to be doing the jitsu.
yeah, so it's not like I just got my black belt and then I just get online and just start talking shit and trolling people. Like the people I troll the most are the ones I love the most. They're like really close friends of mine, people I talk to every day. It's the ones like if people like send me like hate mail shit like that and I don't even respond to, those are the ones I don't care about. That's the people I don't like. Why even mention them?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you there. So for again people who may not be following your shit and might afterwards, they can expect to see probably the most non-stop back and forth between you and Kit Dale of all people. I think the two of you have gone back and forth more times.
Yeah, that started in I want to say 2009 or 2010. He fought, and was really awesome. So I knew Kit Dale from YouTube when he was making his videos, the Dale Brothers, which is an amazing YouTube site. His younger brother Scott Dale is just a fucking filming genius, a movie genius. The guy, he does really serious pieces, but they started out with comedic pieces.
Yeah, they had some cool parodies, didn't they?
Oh, they've had some amazing ones, and my favorite one still to this day is Kit Dale's like Monday Morning Mix. It's where he's playing the song and he's dancing naked,
Yeah.
and
Well, you
his
don't
roommate
see that
comes.
he's naked till the end, right?
Yeah, and then his roommate comes out and tells him it's Sunday. So like it's really cool. And so I met him through kind of like Facebook, and we just started conversating. And he competed against Keenan Cornelius in the brown
Right.
belts. And it was the first time, like back when Budo Jake and all those guys were actually filming it and putting it on like live stream before like Flow Grappling stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
came out. And he was competing. They go, "Oh, some guy's going against Keenan Cornelius," and I was like, "How the fuck did they not know Kit Dale? This guy's been like tearing up the scene." So I kind of got in the chat and I started trolling. I go, "How the fuck do you?" I goes, How do you guys be professional and not know who the fuck Kit Dale is? He's from Australia." And I was just trolling,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
having fun. And then like you could tell they were getting a message there because one guy goes, "Oh, hey, it looks like this guy's Kit Dale." Like he read the message and saw who it was. So I was really like on Kit Dale's side, and I think Kit Dale like literally lost by an advantage in
Yeah,
that.
I remember
So
it was a pretty close match. Surprisingly close for people who didn't know who Kit was.
yeah, you got to remember Kit Dale was only training with like blues and whites at the time. Like his grappling level for the people he trains with is just amazing.
Well, he was
Uh,
one of those freak, phenomenal people who got their black belt in under 4 years. Isn't that right?
yes, and it's when you meet the dude, it's not a freak. It's kind of like when you meet. He reminds me a lot of Gary Tonin, the way that their mind thinks and the way they process movement and submission. It's pretty amazing. Like Gary's is based on like ADD. It's because he literally has ADD
Yeah.
that there's a million submissions and stuff going through his mind, and he is constantly hunting. You can see it in his eyes. Like the
Yeah.
dude is constantly calculating.
Yeah, he's the most weaponized Ritalin kid probably out there.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And then Kit Dale is, dude, he's really insightful. He's very thought provoking the way he approaches things, which is like it's two different things, but they have a similar path in a sense. So anyway, to get back to Kit, um, so the next day I just posted, I made a picture, and it's a kangaroo holding a picture of Kit Dale, and I posted it, and it said it was a meme that said, "I'm from Australia and I don't know who the fuck this guy is." And literally my inbox was flooded from people in Australia. Like, man, they love their sportsmen. Like they
Yeah.
go 100%. And I got one dude offered to fly me out just to kick my ass, which was amazing.
Hey, that's actually an expensive ticket. I'd take the ass kicking to go down to Aussie for free.
Oh, it was really funny. So then I contacted Kit, and then I sent him like the screenshot of what happened. He goes, bro, he goes, you gotta tell people it's a joke. I said, no, fuck this. And so I respond back to the dude, and I said, man, you're a fucking retard for like even liking someone like Kit does. Like Australia's got shit jujitsu. I guess he told other people. So like the next day, my inbox was full of just like threats, people coming to America wanting to whip my ass.
That's
And
amazing. You just steer right into the crash.
yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I'm like, fuck it, let's just see where it goes. It's going to be a great journey. I don't know how it's going to end, probably, but I've been taking ass beatings ever since I started jiu-jitsu, so it wasn't going to
Sure.
be anything new. And this one I definitely deserved. So I was like, all right, we'll go with it. And that's when the whole meme war began. Like everything, like anything he posted, I would shit on. It was just like a rule. And I knew I was doing the right thing when his mom started inboxing me baby pictures of Kit and stuff like that.
Amazing.
Yes. So his family was on board 100%. And I was like, dude, this is so, I'm getting love from the family members. And Australians have an amazing sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. So fast forward to 2010, he's getting ready for Worlds. So at this, like, we're in the height of like our war against each other with memes and just hate mail. And like the Aussie fans, like literally just like fucking can't stand me at this point. And he's going to train at Drysdale's in Vegas for 2010 Nogi Worlds.
I remember.
So yeah, he hits me up. He's like, "Hey, bro, why don't you fly out here and we'll hang out?" This is the first time I actually got to meet him in person. So I didn't even think twice. I booked my tickets, my hotel, everything. Fly out. We hang out, and we're always posting near each other and tagging each other. Like he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go get a workout at Drysdale." And he tagged himself at Facebook and checks in. So I check in. I go, "Yeah, I'm gonna go fuck that bald headed Aussie up. I'm here. Where the hell is he?" And what's really funny is like the crowd's getting into it. Like people are sending us messages. No, he just checked in here. He just checked in there. And so there's one video that Kit Dale posted. It's probably somewhere on Facebook somewhere. And we're literally like, we just got done eating dinner together. And we go in this casino and I go, bro, I said, how funny would it be if you say you're looking for me and you film a video and I'll be in the background? He's like, okay. Well, what he didn't realize is when he's filming in the background, I'm playing slots. And I literally ordered like the gayest drink, a pina colada with an umbrella. I got like an umbrella in my hair. I'm drinking a pina colada. And he's filming. He's like, yeah, I'm looking for Classy Grappler. I'm going to beat his ass when I see him. And I shit you not, this is before live video. I mean, this is 2010. And someone actually messaged him on the feed. He's right behind you. And that's when we realized, like, holy shit, people. That's when I realized social media was just doomed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
clearly you get along. It's fun. It's not meant as mean things, but it will not stop you from photoshopping a dildo into his hand.
No, and that's it. It's like now it's just like understandably it's going to happen. So if he posts something really positive, which I love what he posts, I think it's amazing. Same with Tom DeBlas, man. The posts that they have are amazing and they're inspiring. But I know there's this other half of the internet that we have, like the haters that just hate everything these fucking guys do, and they're doing amazing shit for just the community in general, which is insane. So I kind of beat the haters to it. So I'll post stupid shit, like I'll shit on their post, or I'll just like make a dumb meme about it, and it kind of leaves no room for like the haters to do anything. It's kind of like, all right, I've topped them, so what the fuck are you gonna do? And it kind of shuts them up before they get a chance. That's kind of where this whole thing started with. I would kind of top off the haters and beat them to the punch.
That's an interesting service you're playing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's helping them, but it sure makes me laugh and feel better about myself.
Well, it's got to be easy with guys like Kit Dale and Tom DeBlas because they're always posting these quasi-gay pictures of them topless, shaven chest, asking people how they look. At least Metro, right? They're asking for some sort of terrible meme opportunity.
Yeah, like it was already getting on my nerves when I started seeing like the Instagram models do it. But like my buddies and my friends and people I respect, I'm like, if I'm your friend, I think any friend should do this. Even if I post shit like that, I would want people to horribly like just tear me the fuck apart. I want them to roast me if I ever post stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
And I would welcome it. I would want that because you're a grown ass man. Jesus Christ, man. We've seen your tits enough. I don't know how many more posts you can have.
Yeah, there's a while. I don't know if Kit's still doing this, but he was for a while pushing like a fitness and health and nutrition thing for a while. I mean, clearly it's working for him, but it's so easy. Like it's got to be so
Ye-
easy for you.
yes, it is. And like, man, there's some things that like when it's too easy, I don't even fuck with. Like when he was posting some, like they actually had videos, and I did one of his videos, and I did a voiceover, and it was really horrible. The ingredients he was putting in on his cooking shows and shit, and I was like, I can't, man. This is just too easy. It's just like an easy target. And I understand when people have to market stuff. I don't want to, especially my good friends. I don't want to fuck with their income or what their,
For
because this is
sure.
their life, and this is how they make their money.
Yeah.
So so yeah, I do have limits, but on photos and shit like that, no. It's free game, especially if you're gonna post it on like Instagram and Facebook. Like that's just, it's and on using that social media, that medium, you're gonna have so many haters anyway. I might as well just join in.
Yeah. So the ones that are actually Photoshop that are getting edits done on them, is that something you do yourself? Or I've seen that you've teamed up with Photoshop Steve at least a few times.
Yes, like the really high caliber shit, like is like the first few ones, man. Photoshop Steve, that guy is fucking amazing, and dude, I've known him for years. He actually started off with like Eddie Bravo, Hanata Laranja. He did some of those photoshops, but then like he did jujitsu as well, and he saw all the weak ass photoshops I was doing of Kit Dale, and then he's like, "Hey man," he just started posting some funny ones, man, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's amazing, dude." And if it's a big project, something like we want to make like a movie poster or just something like for a seminar flyer, man, he doesn't hesitate. He does it all free. He's like, "What do you need, man?" And I'll send him, I'll call him, or I'll text him, and yeah, Photoshop Steve is a great guy, and I'm so glad he's blown up, especially his Instagram, man, because the stuff he does, the guy is so creative in how fast he does, and he even does tutorials and show you. But the ones that like you see someone post a picture and it's instantly I modify it, that's all me, man. Like, and I honestly, alls I use, I don't like using a lot of detail. I just I find these apps on. I constantly check the iPhone store for good apps, and that's when I find a good app, I'll keep using it. And that like the past two mean, especially like the one with Mikey Muscemi, like
Oh yeah,
he those are all done with an app. The latest one's for Gordon Ryan's birthday. The Predator one I just did of Gary Tonin. Yeah, those are all done with. All this stuff is done on an iPhone app literally within like 5 minutes.
yeah, that's me too. I can't be bothered to learn Photoshop. I've tried a couple times and I just don't have the attention, you know, uh, let alone the money to be paying a yearly subscription when I can just make these potato memes on my phone and pop them out and people like them just as good, you know?
Dude, your meme game for the jiu-jitsu community is strong, man. Like I remember when because jiu-jitsu like just came out, and then like I always constantly look. I'm like, man, that thing is growing, and it's hilarious. And you know you're getting good when other jiu-jitsu sites, kind of like yours, are reposting your shit and trying to get your watermark off of it. That's when you're doing really well.
Yeah, yeah, that's happened more than a number of times too. Like it's like I don't mind when people share my stuff. I love when people share my stuff. It's especially if it's unedited. Sometimes stuff gets cropped by accident, but there are those few precious times when somebody will go through all of the effort to literally like scrub my watermark and replace it with their own. Like, dude, it's so weak. Especially like for a smaller account to do it after it's already been out and people know, like they'll be posting like, dude, this isn't yours.
Yeah, I never got that, and luckily, like my shit's so absurd. I don't think anybody wants to reuse my fucking memes.
Well, look, man, like people can use it even if they're businesses and keep my watermark on it. If it suits your product you're selling, good for you, you know, whatever. It's all good engagement. I don't give a shit. But to actually like steal a joke is really what's annoying, you know? Like they make it seem like they made it. It's that Mencia thing, right? Like they it's not just taking the picture, which is anybody can do that, but it's taking the idea.
Yeah, and we're in such a digital society. People are they fucking take credit for everything, and it's just it's kind of sad. I mean, it's so easy just to tag someone or just give them a mention to say, "Hey, this is who came up with it. I'm just sharing it." And I always give credit where credit's due, man. Like you'll know who Photoshop Steve is when like I always post them and I always credit them. Anybody who has stuff, I'll definitely credit. Some people, which is funny. So like the professional photographers, I feel like Mike Columbus and all those guys that do the real nice IBJJF ones and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll repost it in the meme. They're like, "Hey man, you don't have to give me photo credit."
Oh, bro, you must be real tight with Mike. I guess he's a Texas boy because he's the only guy who's ever taken down one of my pictures.
Really?
Yeah, I even gave credit, but I mean, he's one of those guys that's very hard on the train that credit doesn't count. You know, for photographers who get money for their photos, you know, I
Yeah,
understand it. And he's one of the ones going out there that's like dropping the axe.
he needs to because man, he first started off with the hobby and he was like doing it for free. He was like literally like he worked his ass off and he helped create the Texas MMA website. I mean, he does a lot of great shit for the community, and his photography is amazing, man. And you know, I, I came up with that guy in jiu-jitsu. I've known him forever.
Okay.
Love the guy to death, man. He and like I'll give him a shout out for the DNC. We used to party so much and hang out. We had this little clique, and it was called the Drunken Ninja Clan.
Yeah,
And he's a great guy, and I understand because it's his livelihood now
yeah.
because he works for himself, and part of that income is your photography. And it would just be like it's the same. I look at it the same way. I don't even get mad. Like, you know, if you load up a YouTube video, man, YouTube catches it or Facebook catches it real quick, and they'll either unmute it if you have music or
Yeah.
anything that plays in a movie. Man, they jump on quick. Instagram, not so much. That's why I use Instagram more than Facebook because even though they're owned by Facebook, I can get away with so much more shit.
You know what you gotta watch though? You gotta watch that UFC video content because sites are getting nuked for that pages. There was a handful of them that went down. I don't know, a few weeks ago, a month ago. BJJ pages, MMA pages, literally just wiped off Instagram one day.
Wow. Yeah. The only thing, you know, what's funny? I don't post like long fights or anything. I post like I'm such an idiot, man. I look for like really gay moments in fight scenes because what I love about MMA, jujitsu, wrestling, and stuff is like as manly as it sounds. There's always this moment after the fight where you're just so exhausted, so tired. You'll literally like hug a guy and like kiss him and be like, "Man, I love you, brother. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for." And it's those moments I'll post, and then I'll put like really gay music in the background. Man, it's just to me that's what I love about this sport. It takes, and I think that's why I was drawn to it because before, especially in like the 80s and 90s, everything was just about male aggression, dominance. That's the way the sports were. There was no finesse to it.
Mm.
Like especially if you had training partners, whether you were a great boxer, kickboxer, judo, wrestling. Like to me, like the really good guys were like the most athletic. And what I found is, especially when I first started jujitsu, man, especially when I went up to Henzo, holy shit, I'll never forget this, man. There was this tall, lanky blue belt. Like he was like 6'1" and he was an accountant and he had glasses on and shit. He looked really nerdy. And they're like, "All right, pick your partners." And I was like, "Dude, I want that guy. Like, I think I can beat that guy."
Yeah.
And like I was 220 back then. I played football, I did kickboxing, I did judo ensemble. I was a big dude and I thought, "Oh man, I'll just muscle through everything." This dude was tapping me out like every like 30 to 60 seconds. He was whooping the shit out of me, man. It was so amazing and so humbling. And I was like, "Holy shit, man, I gotta do this." It's like for once I felt like my ego was like truly broken down that day. And
Mm.
I was just like I was humbled and like I was like, "Man, I love this." And then everybody I met in that culture, even though they were tough and very stern, at the end of the day, we were there for each other. Everybody was chill. We could go out, grab a beer, and just relax.
Yeah, you know, it's such a universal story. I hear that from so many people about the how I started. I went to a gym, you know, tried to beat up the little guy basically and end up just getting murked nonstop for 5 minutes. It's such a typical story because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that body type is the least intimidating, but probably some of the most dangerous people in jiu-jitsu are the lanky guys, you know?
Man, you know, like, dude, some of the best products when you talk about like lanky, flexible stuff like that is 10th Planet, man. They got guys with like different builds, but like their flexibility and the way they hit moves, it's just it's you know, it's freakish, it's insane, and it's really cool to see that like body types for that. And man, especially when I watched Boogie, oh
Mm,
my god,
yeah.
Boogie Man, oh my god,
He
dude,
doesn't
just
look
the
like he
stuff
should
he
be able to bend the way he does.
oh my god, there's been times like I literally gag. I'm just like, oh my, oh god, like, Oh, what's oh my knee would have blown out. Like half the shit he pulls, I probably would have ripped like two testicles, blown out my knee like 4 or 5 times. Like it's amazing the stuff he can do. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think that guy can hit a darce from literally every position under the sun.
Yeah.
He just bends his
And
body 180 and got your neck.
I think he could hit a darce with his fucking big toe and his pinky toe together. It's insane how flexible the guy is.
Yeah. Yeah, I shout out to a friend of mine who just got his brown belt from him yesterday, Chadwick Rowland, a buddy of mine up here in Alberta. He's training under him. He's like being graded under him, and yeah, it's such a cool thing they've got going on down there between him and Gio. The size of the club that they have, it speaks volumes to the character of people that they are, I think.
You know, it's funny. Their jujitsu was not the reason I was originally like, oh my god, these guys are awesome. Like I grew up in, I'm a product of the '80s. I was in the '80s and '90s, and I was a big break dancer. I actually used to break. A lot of
Oh
people
yeah,
know this, but I used to break dance. Yeah, I used to break dance at Tower Records. Like every
no
Friday night,
kidding.
they would have. Yeah, every Friday night they'd have battles, and my dad would drive me to these battles to go compete. And then like I remember one year we all of us who were battling there actually got picked up. Knott's Berry Farm in California had this place called Studio K, and they hired a bunch of us break dancers to go over there and just like dance, I guess, on stage and shit. And they didn't even pay us; they just gave us like summer passes. And as kids, you're like, oh fuck yeah, you get to go free for the whole summer. So we did that, and that's when like I saw Geo and Boogie. I was like, oh my god, they're b-boys, and like that really sung to me. Like I was like, oh my god, like that was a big part of my childhood was breakdancing, and they're amazing breakdancers. I remember the first time I saw them is they did a video for Phalanx. I don't want to pronounce the Nogi stuff. I
Oh
believe
yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
phalanx.
Yeah, and it's like them breakdancing. It's kind of talking about. I'm like, oh my god, these guys are amazing. That's when I really started following it wasn't because of the jiu-jitsu, it was because they were b-boys. And I really
Hmm.
thought that like that was amazing to start seeing b-boys, and I found out there's a lot of b-boys in jiu-jitsu, and I was just like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it is interesting. I know that both Eddie and Joe Rogan talk about that a lot as they see. I think it's mostly because of Eddie's scene that he's in. Like LA is pretty big for breakdancing, is it not? So it's
Yeah.
probably he sees more of it than people would in, Texas, probably. Um, but then also they're bringing in like they've got a couple black belts who are top level competitors in the area who are breakdancers, which probably attracts more breakdancers. But I think that is excuse me, some of the more untapped physical market for jujitsu students, you know?
Yeah, and man, I'm impressed. Everything that those guys are putting out, like, see, I'm a true fan of jujitsu in general. I really don't pay attention to like the different association beefs, the different school beefs. Like, if I'm a fan of yours, I'm a fan of yours, regardless like what you're repping. Like, I'm amazed by everybody because you got to remember, I started in the days of age where I literally had to like call information to find out about Henzo Gracies in New York. Like, there was no like phone book. I was in Virginia at the time. I couldn't just get online and start looking shit up. There was no like Google Maps or Siri to tell you
Yeah,
where to
yeah.
go. And it was amazing. Like now with social media, like it's so much easier for people to start beefs than it was back then because shit, you didn't know where your schools were. You didn't know how close the next school was. There weren't that many schools back then.
Yeah.
So there really wasn't a lot of people to have beefs. And you could be a true fan of everybody because back then in the '90s, man, you would just search for the knowledge. I've been a nomad of the sport forever. I've been lucky. I met the right Gracies at the right time. Like my
Mm.
first introduction, I've heard horror stories about people meeting like different instructors from Brazil, and they're like, "Oh, I wasn't happy. I felt like they weren't teaching me enough." And I never had that. Like I've been purely lucky in my journey through jujitsu, and that's why I guess I've always been happy, and I always have a positive outlook on the art and the sport of it. I just love it so much. I met Henzo first, and that dude is so fucking amazing. Like you cannot say enough good things about that guy. And the stories he tells are like they're insane. They're just like, and he tells them like no big fucking deal. Like, yeah, some guy shot at me and I tackled him. There's like, holy
Yeah, it's
shit,
right.
dude.
So this one time I was with the Sheik and all of his bodyguards, and
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And he's always happy. He always had that smile. And I'm glad I met him first because that's the way, that's my attitude. I have the same attitude. I'm generally a very happy guy. I love it. But when it's time to get down and grind, I'm all for it. And then like I have family in Hawaii because I'm half Japanese, half Irish. So my mom's side lives in Hawaii,
Mm.
and so I did a lot of summers out there. I lived a little bit out there, and he goes, "Oh, you got to go to Helson's."
Oh
And then I
yeah.
met Helson, and that dude is a fucking nut, man. I love that guy to death. He is just a ball of energy, great sense of humor, man. So I've just had a great journey the whole time. Just met nothing but great people. So I didn't have like there was every school I went to and I trained with. I never had this like, oh, this school's better than that. I never had a beef. I've always just been a fan because I've always been seeking the knowledge.
Hmm.
And I think when you take that type of a step and you look back and you're like, oh my God, I just love this guy for all the great stuff he's done for the sport, regardless what school hates him or what they think of him. And when you go train with him, I think that's when you really get to meet him and see how their personality is, and you love them even more.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more of a rare thing to be without politics in BJJ. As you're saying, it's way too easy to touch different schools online. To there's so many more people out there, so many more affiliations. They just keep multiplying, and it seems like it's breaking down into smaller and smaller groups of people that are like, these are my people and those are your people, and we're going to compete against each other and we're going to beat your people, instead of like, we're all learning jujitsu. We can have open mats where other people come in. I'm big about the zero politics thing where I'm at, but I do see the opposite of that becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of a double edged sword. Like in one sense, I see it because like if you're from different affiliations and like let's say there's a big promoter putting on a big grappling event and they want the hype. I mean, they expect you to troll, especially in the Conor McGregor era where it's kind of like, oh, they're building a feud, they got fans. I mean, like the first like real big feud I remember was like man was with like Gary and Gordon and Dylan. Like that
Oh
was kind
yeah.
of like the first big war of words, and that's when you realize, man, Gordon is a fucking savage, man. When it you meet him in person, he's a quiet, cool, awesome guy, but man, on the internet, holy fuck.
Yeah, he goes 0 to 100 in the same comment.
Oh, and man, I love the dude for it. I think I look he makes me blush some of his posts. I'm like, this is amazing. This is good shit right here. And that's why, I'm still kind of a fan of it, even though it looks like they're shit talking. It like to him it's done in fun, but like also it's done in fun. But there's a lot of reality behind it too. Like he's telling you, like, listen, I think I'm the best. If you can beat me, just fucking come at me. Try.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at all of the shit posting that he did leading up to the first match he had with Felipe Pena. Um, but he never really like shit talked him personally. You know what I mean? Like it was all about, I'm the best, I'm the best. It wasn't like, you suck and I'm going to kill you. And it was never like that after the fact. Of course he lost, but you know, it was the fans that took it a little too far. I felt like he was hyping it for the sake of hype, not because he hates the guy.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, he respects everybody he gets on the mat with, unless they do something that to disrespect him or something that to disrespect his friends because that whole squad up there at Henzo's is super tight, man.
Yeah, they roll
You
deep.
mess with it's like fucking messing with a barnyard family, man. You fuck with one, it's like the Hatfield and McCoys. Everybody comes out. It's insane.
That's a good
And
Texas analogy there.
yeah, kids, if you don't know what it is, man, start learning history. Stay on Facebook. But yeah, it's they it was so funny that this internet thing was like when we were talking about like all the hype when Gordon or Gary gets beat, they don't fucking make excuses. And that's what I love about those dudes, man. They're harder critics on themselves than anybody will ever be. And that's the reason I've always been drawn to those guys in that crew. Like they're really hard on themselves on any matches, even when they win, they're still hard on
Mm.
themselves.
In 2014, I run jiu-jitsu promotions up here in Alberta, and I brought in Gary. I had already known him because I was working with Five Grappling in the 2013-2014 run that they had. And so I hung out with Gary at a bunch of the events, and I managed to get him up. I think it was maybe it was 2015. I brought him up for a super fight in Alberta against a local leg lock expert up here. So it was kind of like our guy that nobody could beat because he just bites your ankle off versus this world stage guy. Let's see where his level actually is, kind of thing. So I made this hype video of our guy, the Albertan guy. His name's Matt Bagshaw, and there was this part where Matt was waxing poetic because he's a bit of an artsy guy, and he was saying, the mat is my canvas, my body is my paintbrush, and I'm just trying to make a masterpiece. And I edited this all together and I put it out there. And Gary, once he got to Alberta for the fight, he was telling me beforehand, he's like, that video, I showed that video to a couple of guys at Henzo's. I was like, guys, I can't lose to this guy. If I lose to this guy, I have to quit jujitsu. They're like, what are you talking about? It's like, the guy thinks he's a paintbrush. I can't lose to a fucking paintbrush.
Oh my God, dude. Gary, Gary is fucking hilarious, man. I remember he came into to Texas a couple years back to do a seminar, and he stayed with me that weekend. And man, the stories we have will probably never make it online. It was literally like the movie The Hangover the whole weekend with that.
Oh
dude.
man.
Yeah, it was truly insane. But the shit that comes out of his mouth, man, when he just says it blatantly and calm and cool and collective, like you just said, I can't lose to a fucking paintbrush. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking comedic gold.
Yeah, the way I describe him, and he makes some of the fastest friends of anybody I know in the industry. Like, there's no, you got to get to know him and warm up. He's just like your buddy right away. He feels like the neighborhood kid. You know what I mean? Just scooting by on his BMX 1-speed, and he's just waving at everybody. Hey, how's it going today, guys?
Yeah, you know what? I'd have to say it's his boyish charm and smile. It's so infectious. Like, just when you're around him for like even 5 seconds, you feel like you're happier already. And people like that, I constantly gravitate towards, and I want to surround myself by, because it's just a different feeling, man. Like, no matter how bad your day is, you feel great when you're around these people.
That might be some of the strangest dichotomy of your persona online, is that the people that you are relentlessly ripping, and just relentlessly, I could make a whole folder, a file folder full of pictures of people that you love and enjoy and respect that I couldn't show to my mother. You know what I mean? Like,
speaking of that,
you love them the most, but troll them the hardest, which is just, I think, probably it doesn't, a lot of people online don't understand that, which makes it even more fun to watch the comments roll in.
yeah, the funny thing about that, first, let's get to the stuff you can't show your mother. So my mom and dad are on my Facebook, which is hilarious. And like, they literally just like, oh my God, why did you post it? And it's funny because, and they laugh at it. My parents gave me my sense of humor. So when they see some of the posts, they get a good kick out of it too. And we'll talk about it over dinner, because I'll go up on the weekends and see them. But like me and you talked before, I kind of did it because, like I said, the people I respect, I love, they're doing a great thing for the community. But like with social media, man, it's just like people automatically just want to hate on them. They don't want to be fans. They don't even have a reason why they hate him. They just get in their mind like, oh, this guy's doing so well. Why is he getting all the fame? I train just as hard. I do this shit. And they fucking get angry about it. They don't want to earn it. They just think they get it. These guys that are out there that are doing good shit, that are getting popular in the scene, man, they work their asses off daily. And at anything, at the end of the day, regardless if you don't like the guy, you got to respect how hard they work to get where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, what I do is I troll them before anybody else can. And my trolls are so epic online that what's the next guy going to say that's worse than mine? Nothing. What's the guy going to post that's worse than mine? Fucking hopefully nothing, because the shit I post now is really bad, dude.
Yeah, step past there is FBI territory.
Yeah, like, I'm surprised. I literally think Mark Zuckerberg gave up on me, because before I was always in jail. Now I'm rarely in jail, man.
Yeah, I bet you got flagged constantly.
Yeah, I used to get flagged constantly. And then, like, as I guess the reputation grew, people realized it literally, like, my page is just for fun, man. Mine is a break from all the bullshit. Mine makes fun of all the bullshit we see and deal with in our community. And it's just, you need that every day, because fuck, man, every time you turn on the news, everything is so fucking negative. Everything you look at is so negative. You're just like, you're kind of like, fuck, I want to give up on society sometimes, man. It's just, it's like doom.
Yeah, that's why I make the memes too, is I like to add enjoyment to what's otherwise a gloomy, boring, repetitive feed cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it kills me, because like, and literally, like, the number one target is Kit Dale. And it's not, when I say number one target, I don't mean me. I mean, like, that guy gets so much fucking hate. Like so many people that just hate on what he's doing. And man, he's a smart businessman. He knows what he's doing. And it's amazing. And people don't realize all those stupid shit that you post online, all the dumb comments you make. He gets so many more positive comments that he doesn't even fucking read the negative ones, man. And you're kind of just wasting your time getting online, and it's like you're looking for a fight with like Kit Dale's fans and shit. And trust me, man, back in the day, yeah, Kit Dale's fans wanted to beat the fuck out of me, but when they realized it was all in good fun, man, it's like that's the only troll they'll read. Like they'll see like all these negative posts, but they'll respond back to mine, and it's generally like a fucking smiley face or a winky face and a kissy face and a rainbow.
Yeah, well, speaking about downtime and good vibes, let's touch on your other, I think, probably main passion outside jiu-jitsu. It seems like video games. Like I see a lot of posts about Destiny and online gaming, and you're pretty serious about it, to the point that you have more than once trained at the Microsoft studios. Is that right?
Well, I went to Microsoft and met the people, but I actually taught and trained at Bungie, the ones that made Halo and,
Yeah.
and Destiny.
Yeah, I'm a big Halo fan. I followed Halo for years when I was growing up.
Yes. So Luis Felipe Villegas is he works there, and he's been following me on Facebook, and he was the one I was actually going out to see James Foster to go train with him, one of my buddies, Mr. 300. And he goes, "Hey, why don't you stop by the studio?" And I had no fucking clue where he worked. Or I was like, "You trolling me? What's the studio?" And he goes, "No, I work for Bungie." And I was like, "Bullshit, man!" And this is before this is when they were just big on Halo, and Destiny really hasn't come out yet. They just had talks about Destiny in like gaming magazines, and so I didn't think anything of it. And then he sends me those non-disclaimer forms on email.
Non-disclosure?
Yeah, so I got that, and I had to sign that. I was like, "Oh, he's for real. He really works for fucking Bungie," because you're reading it. And we filled it out, and we went. Foster came with me, and we trained. Even the president at the time came down and trained with us. We did some no-gi, some gi stuff. Super cool. And then they actually let me do this is for my nerd friends would know this. You have betas, which come out kind of the public, a select few get to play it. Well, there's also these things called an alpha test. An alpha test is where literally only 8 people, mostly the game testers, get to play. Well, they sent me and another buddy who does jujitsu the alpha test code. We got to game and play Destiny from our home before anybody else did.
Oh wow! So you're OG of OG when it comes to Destiny.
Yeah, so it was amazing. We got to give our feedback, and man, I fell in love with the game, and I made so many friends from it. And then I made one post on my Facebook, and I found, oh my God, there's a lot of other jiu-jitsu gamers out there that it's what they do in their downtime. And,
yeah, is that a big correlation you find? Like a lot of gamers in jiu-jitsu?
I figure it's a correlation with the games we play. So things like Destiny and you see Fortnite and COD, a lot of first-person shooter stuff like that. I think a lot of the gamers like it. Except for my boy Sean Roberts, man, he's killing it on the Mortal Kombat scene. Any Street Fighter, that
really?
guy is a monster. Yeah, he's in the top 20 or 30. He used to do the pro tournaments. Yeah, if you want to talk about it, and man, I tried to play with that dude online. He's so above my level. I was like, man, I can't even do this. It's like beating up an infant. The guy is just amazing.
Wow, I honestly, seriously, till this moment, didn't realize there was actual skill involved in those fighting games. I just button mash.
Dude, man, if you can talk to him, man, you got to talk to Sean Roberts. That dude is amazing at the Street Fighter Mortal Kombat series. Disgustingly good. And then the Camarillo brothers both game.
Okay.
So I gamed with them on Destiny, and then I think that they've been doing a lot more COD and Elder Scrolls lately. I mean, I think we're all kind of nerds in this. And then Destiny brought us out for actually the launch of Destiny, which was really cool. So me and Foster got to go there, and this is the first time they opened up the studios to the public. And there was a line the night before, so people were camping out because they were only letting in the first 100 people. And this is how much of a dick I am. So I'm with all the guys from Bungie. I'm with me and Foster, my wife were there, and all these people waiting in line. And I start getting in line, and I asked the dude in the front, I go, "Hey, is this for the new iPhone 6? Because the iPhone 6 is coming out." And I've never had the most disgusting look on someone's face. This guy just looks at me and is just like, "No, it's for Destiny." God. And just walked away. It was like that Napoleon Dynamite
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so this is what was so great. So the next day, when they were doing the tours for everybody, we were putting on a seminar, and we invited all these people in the jiu-jitsu community to come out for it. So they're all still waiting in line the next morning. And here I come with just a backpack with my gear, and it's the same dude remembers me. And I go, hey, is this for the is this for the iPhone 6? And he goes, weren't you here yesterday? It's not for the iPhone 6. And he's getting like really pissed, right? He goes, it's for Destiny. And I go, all good, I'm in the right place. And I just walked right in. And like they let me in the doors that were locked. And just the look on his face. And then so they came in and they saw that Bungie has a jiu-jitsu program, but they have a lot of things. They got like rock climbing walls, they have kickboxing, they even have fencing there. They do a lot for their employees, which is really cool. Yeah. And that's how I met a lot of other gamers and YouTubers and streamers. Is they came and talked to me when we were teaching out there, and those are the people like I met and I'm still friends with throughout the year, and that's who I game online with. And I'll help out. Like if they want to stream something, I'll jump in and we'll just game all night.
Well, what do you find yourself playing now? Are you still in Destiny, or are you doing something else?
Destiny is good, but so many of my friends kind of got out of Destiny, and the reason you pretty much game now is to stay in touch with your buddies. Like I have a lot of buddies in the military, and I was gaming with my buddies in Korea. I'd have to wake up at like 4 in the morning because of the time difference, and I would just get on and game with them because I haven't seen or heard from them in a while. And everybody's anticipating the new Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and that comes this October. So we've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately to get ready for it, which sounds really nerdy, like prepping for a game coming out.
Call of Duty is like the video game equivalent of Land Before Time. Like they don't stop making sequels for this game.
And it's not only that, but like, and this is, and I'm in all honesty mean this, for any of the people that want to get really good at trash talking and want to hear good trash talking, man, just get in Call of Duty and put your headphones on and put it into just like the game chat, and you will get belittled by fucking 8-year-olds.
Oh, dude.
The amount of shit talking is amazing.
Like I said, I used to be into Halo quite a bit, and the online slaps that I would get from 12-year-olds that clearly hadn't hit puberty yet would strike me in my soul, and I didn't know what to do half the time. I actually got to the point where we got this like gamer guild of people who were married and older and owned houses just so we could stay away from the savageness of these little kids that just rip you apart.
And I think that's what draws me to it. I mean, if you want to stay witty and be, quick and snap back, man, I'm telling you, just get in any Call of Duty and just get in game chat. Just listen and just be ready to fire back, because that is where you're going to get your trash talk game up. Not online, not on the internet where you have time to think about, you got fucking spell check, all that bullshit. I mean, it is on the spot, man.
Yeah. So they do this in comedy with these roast battles. You ever watch any of those?
The roast battles are fucking amazing. I love them.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing something like that? Because you're in the comedy, jiu-jitsu venue genre.
I never thought about things like that. I'm just so busy roasting my friends. I probably would. I probably wouldn't even think twice about it. I'll do anything for a laugh. And even if it's, the people think I troll a lot. I troll myself the most. If you look at all my stupid posts, a lot of times I'm literally trolling myself, because as you get older, man, you just realize so much shit in life about yourself, like your body falling apart, fucking losing your hair, just getting old. I mean, it's literally, as you get old, you become this disgusting individual. Like you're not as beautiful as you once were. You don't have the Adonis body you had in your 20s and shit. And you just laugh at it now, because there's really like, dude, if I can get out of bed on my own every day, it's a good day. Like I've accomplished something.
Yeah, I feel you there, man. And I'm the same way with my memes. I love it when I post something that is particularly derisive against a certain type of jiu-jitsu person, be it guard pull or guard pass or leg lock or whatever. Like, people will get so personally offended. And meanwhile, they don't realize that most of the time it's from my own experience about myself. Like I'm making fun of myself. So they think that I'm just being this jackass making fun of what they love. I'm like, dude, I'm making fun of me.
And see, that's what people don't realize. Like a lot of comedy, just it comes from the heart. It really does. Like the really funny stuff that people laugh a lot about comes from our personal experiences, because they can relate to it. If you just made up something that was kind of funny and came from like an abstract place and not a real memory or something, a life event that really happened to you, there's not many people that can relate to it.
Yeah.
But generally, we all have the same life events. Something like that was really funny in life that we didn't think funny at the time, but we look back and reflect now. We're like, holy, that was probably one of the funniest moments of my life and the dumbest thing I ever did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about memes I've found. It didn't take me too long to figure it out that relatable is what people want. Like you can I like doing wordplay and I like doing like situational stuff, but relatable is what's going to get people, really engaged because they're like they remember that time and they post their little story about I remember when.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think if you want a true fan base, not this fake one you get on Instagram where people just to follow you, where they hope they follow you back and all
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
bullshit. And I hate when people are like, you follow me, I'll follow you back.
I
Like just
know.
that dumb shit, or they'll message you to follow them or give them a shout out. Like,
Yeah, this little
I,
Instagram circle jerk where everybody just helps each other for the sake of nothing, right?
yeah, I want actual followers. I want people that have the same humor and that have. They don't even really need the same views. As long as you have the same humor with me, we're gonna get along just fine. And that's what I want. I want, and when you, like you said, something relatable, something that truly happened, something that people could really relate, and be like, oh my god, that happened to me. I remember that, and they kind of get this. They get the image of what happened in their mind in the event. They can remember the day, and they just laugh. Like their whole day is just like it's better just because of that. Those are the people that'll stick around because oh my god, this I'm very relatable. And what's funny is you get great friendships out of that, like relatable following. Like there's people I message every day and talk to every day. I respond to my inbox all the time, no
Hmm.
matter how gross it gets or how fucked up shit people send me. I'll still respond. But I've met a lot of great friends through it. Don't get me wrong. It's you meet a lot of great people with the same core values through social media, but it's just the relentless post of all the negative shit is what you
Yeah.
just gotta.
Yeah, that got it, at least on my feed, but I think universally it got particularly bad around the 2016 election cycle. I don't think it's ever recovered since then. Like shit just got so stagnant and gross and people just biting each other.
Oh my god, it gets so fucking toxic, man. I mean, just politics in general, and this is what I laugh at the most. People get upset, and and I have friends from different countries, different. And what's cool about traveling and meeting all these people, and I travel, I go out of country at least once or twice a year. I travel as much as I can to see like worldly perspective, different views. And the one common thing I realize, no matter wherever you travel, they always think whoever the president is, or prime minister, king or queen, they think that one person makes the decisions for the whole country. And it cracks me up because like a lot of people, like they'll hate on Trump, but before that, everybody hated on Obama. Every wrong decision was this president's fault. You got to realize it's not just one person doesn't control a whole nation. And that's why I always laugh about these political views because people are like, oh, no, this is why Trump was better than Obama. And I'm like, you guys, there's so much shit that goes into politics.
Mm.
And if you sit there and you bitch about politics and jujitsu, you realize it's not just one person making all these decisions. It's kind of like a core group of people that creates these fucked up politics. And that's the reason I never get in political arguments when people get pissed about memes or try to start something saying that's sexist. I'm just like, man, just take it for what it is. People forget what fucking humor is, and that's the saddest thing.
Yeah.
Like that's when I realized like, oh my god, society's doomed. Everybody's losing their sense of humor. Everybody's getting like triggered, and it's insane. Like social media now is like you said, since 2016 has just been nothing but like just horrible, just toxic political views. And I was like, this is what I didn't. I joined Facebook to have friends and laugh. I didn't join to just see all this bullshit. And then, oh my god, the people that post those fucking like animal torture videos. Oh fuck
Oh, I
those guys.
know. Yeah, they can just die. They can go to
Yeah,
hell. That stuff is terrible. I get what they're trying to do, but to do it in a way that's just like, you wake up in the morning, first thing you see is pigs being skinned alive. Like, I, I don't think it's serving their purpose. They're probably alienating more people than they would if they had a better way of doing it.
yeah. I'm gonna listen to someone who intellectually talks about it
Yeah.
and describes it, not showing it, not just some gruesome picture that has nothing behind it, no music. All you hear is like an animal squealing. You see horrible death like that. That makes no sense to me. It's like, why the fuck am I going to follow your page and turn into this? I mean, yeah, I know it's a travesty, it's horrible, but there are so many ways to reach people. And if you're just a tad bit articulate, God forbid people be articulate these days, people will listen. If you just keep talking and putting it out there in a positive manner without so much toxicity, I think people will listen and will share the same views as you. But man, some of these people, they just see something horrible and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking repost it on Facebook and see how much drama I can cause.
Hmm. Yeah, there's those people too that are the shock trolls, right?
Yeah,
They're just looking to
that
hurt people's feelings.
yeah, that's something I don't do. Like I'm not looking to shock and awe. Like that's and I think that's why I have a positive group. Like I have a lot of people that really get my humor because yeah, it seems like it's borderline, but if anything, it's borderline gay. Everything I do, there's always this like homoerotic thing going on
Yeah.
with half the shit I post because I mean that's how I view our sport. Even though it's the most manly sport at the end of the day, especially nogi, man, it's just two naked dudes, half naked dudes hugging each other, man, smacking each other in the ass. Good job, man. Good roll.
Yeah. Do you get any hate from like any parts of the gay community for this?
No, man. You know what's really cool? I get a lot of like positive feedback, which is like really because I'm not offensive about it. I don't like hate on the gay community. I don't, man. Like, and you know, everybody says it to me. Oh, I have a lot of gay friends. Blah, blah. Dude, when you grow up in LA, you grow up in that community. Really, you do,
Yeah,
man. It's part of
yeah.
the community. It's not anything awkward. And then you know, when I went and traveled in New York, huge gay community. Like, you get tons of friends, man. And I know I hate when people say, "Oh, I have a gay friend," or I just don't say that shit. I said, "Oh, I have friends," you know, but I never say, "Oh, well, my gay friend doesn't hate." But I've actually get a lot of love and a lot of posts from them. They're like, "Oh, it's really funny," because I make a lot of like if you read a lot of the stuff I post, like on like your timelines and stuff, I make there's so many gay innuendos where people like even my wife is wondering, "Are you gay?" Like there's this and one of this one person put on one of my posts is like, "You're not completely gay. You just got to sprinkle a gay in you." And it dude that made my day, and it was so funny, man. And I was like, right on, dude. It was so cool. And when they realize you're doing it in fun, and there's like nothing offensive about it, like there's like I said, there's gay innuendos of the stuff I post. Like I post a lot of shit like me and Kit in the shower, or me waking up with Kit, just like all these weird videos and stuff. Like the last post I put on Facebook, I was like, man, it's been a long time. I went on his feed and I said, hey, it's been a long time since I've seen you. I forget how tight your butthole is. Just shit like that, dude.
Yeah, well, I'm working on. I should have Kit Dale on the show here coming up. So, anything that you want to prepare him for?
Oh man, you know, there's. It's just so funny because I like now that like everybody sees these memes, they're expecting me to say like horrible, hateful things about this dude, and I can never say another positive thing. Like when he went out to LA, I introduced him to all my movie buddies. I have a buddy Arnold Sean out there who trains a lot of the UFC fighters and does a lot of the stunt choreography for a lot of the
Oh,
movies out there.
cool.
And he actually brought Kit Dale on set on some of the stuff and was getting helping Kit Dale out. Like my close friends, I will go above and beyond to help them reach their goals and what they want to do. And every time I can, when Kit's in town, I always try to hook him up with gigs in Texas to come out and train. You know, just an excuse for us to hang out.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't know. Like when I went to Australia in 2014, I actually hung out with him and his family. And man, they greeted me with open arms. Man, I love the Aussie community. Man, I cannot say nothing bad about. They are fucking amazing people, great sense of humor, and tough as fucking nails. And that's what I respect. It's amazing to like they never take themselves too seriously, but man, when it comes to hard work, they put in 110%.
Yeah, I think that's why that community, as small as it is, has actually got superstars, which per capita it really shouldn't with the amount of people they have. You know, at the world level, they shouldn't really have a lot of people representing, but you've got people like Kit Dale, of course, originally. You've got Craig Jones coming up, crushing everybody. You've got, uh, who's his instructor?
Lackland
Yeah,
Giles.
Lachlan Giles, as well as Ben Hodginson. And there's a number of black belts in Australia of all places, where it's really like two cities on either end of a massive empty continent, and they've somehow got enough jujitsu skill, you know, which is strange because usually skill is something you see at a certain percentage within a group. But for the size of their group, the percentage is much larger than I think in a lot of areas. For probably those reasons, like you're saying, they're hard workers. They can they got just a go-getter tough mentality that's it helps in combat sports.
Well, and I think what also helps is, like I said, their humor. They don't take themselves seriously. So they don't get hyped up in like all the bullshitting and the shit talking. They make fun of themselves just as much as anybody else, which is amazing. And I've always loved that attitude. I think you should always make fun of yourself to kind of keep you in check. And Craig Jones he's a funny dude, man.
Mm,
But like fuck that guy because he's trying to take Kit Dale's limelight. No, I'm just kidding.
fucking guy.
Fucking guy, man. You just can't have one Ozzy. You want to take the limelight, and he's doing amazing. And I'm glad, like he came out of nowhere, and then he just started leg locking the fuck out of people. Because when I went up to see Gary and Gordon up at EBI in Austin, man, he was just tearing through people. And the people who were sitting there were laughing because I was making so much fun of Craig Jones. We were joking back and forth right before his matches. Like everybody else is like, how they're kind of pacing with nervous energy.
Yeah, yeah.
Me and him are fucking talking shit to each other the whole time in the corner laughing. And he'd get in, go in the match, compete, win, and walk off, and we'd still talk shit and laugh, and he'd take off. And like, that is such a fucking amazing attitude to have that, to where like, yeah, I'm not too worried. We'll see what happens. And that cool collective calm skill. I was so impressed, man. Craig Jones is just truly amazing.
Yeah, that becomes a skill if you need it, but for people that have it naturally, that have that calm, let's see what happens attitude, it plays really well into jiu-jitsu. Like I remember watching, I think if I was going to guess, I'd say that Keenan Cornelius had to learn that, but he's learned it very well. And to the point that I watched him at a tournament in 2013, I want to say, in a black belt match in California at one of the IBJJF ones down there. I think the Fall Invitational and or Classic or whatever it is. Anyways, he would get into the bullpen when the black belts were going. He would lie down with his head against his bag and throw his hoodie over his face and literally start snoring. He'd just go to sleep before his matches. And then somebody would go over and sort of shake him on the shoulder, say, "You're up in 5 minutes." And he'd get up and he'd yawn, he'd stretch, he'd crack his back, he'd go out there, hit a phenomenal highlight reel finish, and then go back and start snoring again before the next match.
Dude, it's cool because like being in the sport this long and being a fan of the sport, man, to watch Keenan from when he first started, and he was winning. Like people, they really started recognizing him at purple belt. Is when they were like,
yeah, that's when I
wow,
started following him too, and he was hitting the grand slams.
yeah, and he was always ending up against the Meow Brothers.
Yeah.
Like it was him versus the Meow Brothers. It was this like really awesome, epic battle, and like the way he held himself, the way he was always respectful for people, he was kind of like the quiet guy, was awesome. And then as he got older and more comfortable in his skin, like I love it now. Like it's so fun. Like this is the most amazing thing that I love about Keenan is when I see him pop into a feed and he'll just put like a quick one-liner troll in someone's feed, generally a Gordon Ryan one,
Yeah.
and I just die laughing because it's something you don't expect from him to do, to put a little, just kind of like a little jab. And when Keenan does it, it's so sly, man. He is like,
yeah, he's got a wit, man. Yeah,
he does, and he was another big gamer, man.
Oh, really?
He used to stream on Twitch when H1Z1 was out, the survival game.
Okay.
He was playing that a lot.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I see him liking memes quite a bit, so I know he's got a sense of humor. But then you remember that? I think it was for a Meta Morris match. They did like their own little promo, Keenan and Shanji, where
Yes.
yeah, Shanji sees this, or somebody's trolling Keenan online, and he's getting all mad down in his mom's basement trying to find out who this troll is, and they go back and forth and finally meet up, and it's Shanji.
Dude, you know what you brought? It's so funny that you mentioned Meta Morris. Like that whole you want to talk about some of the best memes and some of the best shit that came out of that. And it wasn't even on the fighters, it was the guy running it.
Oh yeah, dude. There was a time when it was popular where it was just the ripest field for comedy.
And the rap videos were amazing. I still don't know until this day why the crew hasn't taken off.
Yeah, one of the great mysteries.
But yeah, they tried to pull Kit Dale from that when he was going against Gary, right?
What do you mean pull him?
All right, so there was this thing. They were and you can ask Kit Dale about this. This was some funny shit. And a lot of people really some people like Mike Belize from like Jiu Jitsu magazine and stuff like that. they're the ones kind of knew what happened. It was hilarious, and we're all talking about because they actually got flown out there, and I got a front row seat out
Nice.
there. And we literally a week before they send Kid an email because me and him were talking back and forth. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go meet you out there. I got a front row seat. We'll hang out. I'll show you. I'll meet you some of my Hollywood buddies. We'll hang out." And he goes, "Bro," he goes, "I just got an email. They're cutting it." And I go, "What the fuck are they cutting?" He goes, because they don't have enough money to fly out here and do my promo, and they can't make a promo video. And they made these excuses. Like first it was, like we can't get a flight to make it and all this shit. I was like, you guys could film it and send them the footage. That's bullshit. So I took to online and I made a funny promo video, and it was horrible. Like it made fun of Kit Dale in the worst way, and it made fun of Halleck, about not being able to afford the video and shit. And I posted it, and it went like viral.
I
And
think
like
I remember that now that you mention it.
yeah, and then literally like the next day, like I have all these messages, and it's these voice messages from Kit. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck you did, but they're flying a crew out tomorrow. We're putting the show back on." He goes, "I'm coming out."
Awesome.
And then when I went and I was hanging out at Metamoris, Mike from Jiu-Jitsu Magazine was sitting there. He's like, "Bro," he goes, "You're the one that actually got him out here. They were gonna just nix that fight." And that was like one of the best matches. Like him and Gary, like that was
Yeah, that
awesome.
was fun.
Like, and that was when Kit was at his. Everybody was about Kit, like Kit Dale, like they were bringing him in for so many super fights.
He had the beard, and that's when he was on his own rash guard.
Yes, his own rash guard. He even has his own. It was a gi too. They made a gi
that's right.
as well.
Tatami, right?
Yeah, and it was really weird because people still really didn't know like who Gary was. Some did, like the hardcore fans knew who Gary was, but as like the public eye, they really didn't know like how good Gary was.
Yeah,
they knew of him, but they didn't realize how fucking good Gary was. And then for him to go out there and submit Kit that quick, you were just like, holy shit, man, that kid is amazing. And it was really funny. I dressed up like Colonel Sanders. So if you look, there's some people did like online breakdown videos, and there's like an arrow pointing at me, like, look at the fucking hipster. Like there's just crazy shit. So I started this whole thing. Like you see, like even the EBI, I always wear with like a really ridiculous outfit. I had a Christmas suit on.
Yeah, I was going to mention that at that one with Craig Jones in the finals versus Gary Tonin or Gordon Ryan, I had a hard time focusing on the match, you bastard, because you're just so loud in the background. And I'm thinking like, I've got to get a screen cap somewhere here to meme, but all I can see is classy, and he's just taken all of the comedy out of every situation because there's nothing more funny than that. You can't make fun of the grapplers when you've got this Christmas suit guy in the background.
Dude, it was so amazing. So like, I'm sitting front row. I have this fucking retarded looking suit on, and it's really funny. My buddies who were going with me to the EBI, I come downstairs. I rented a house out, so they come down to pick me up. And my buddy's just like, "You're not fucking wearing that. I'm not sitting next to you." Dude. I was like, "Come on, dude, we got to go in." And it was right before Gordon's first match. Like it was like the coolest moment. So like right before Gordon's first match, John Danaher's like right there, kind of like talking to his ear. Gary's there, and Gordon has just this mean mug on his face. Like he's serious. He's ready to go. He's calm. And then John like puts his arm on his shoulder and he points to me. And you could see Gordon kind of look over, and then like the seriousness broke, and he just laughed and he like waved, and then he went right back into beast mode. But it was so funny to see him be able to do that, like to switch that fast. Like, because that's pretty fucking funny. And then he's like, "All right, let's get it." And it was really cool to see that. It was like that, just that I could bring that one moment of fucking laughter for that split second. It was cool. And Craig was amazing because for some reason he always got the box that was right next to my seat, like where they sit before they compete every time. Yeah. And then me and him were just throwing jabs back and forth the whole fucking time. We were like, God, these guys hate each other. What the fuck? Afterwards, we're just talking, shooting the shit. And man, Craig is a stellar guy, man. He is. Gordon, Gary, all those guys at the DDS are amazing, man. And like, I really wish we would see more of Jonathan, man. The one who just won the EBI.
John Krillestein.
Yeah, he's another dude that, man, he's amazing. They need to book him for more fights. I don't know why people are afraid to book that cat. That's just something
I'll tell you why they're afraid, because the people who have to fight him know that they're going to lose. I'd like to have him on the podcast, quite honestly. He's been making the rounds through podcasts and getting his stories out, and I've been paying attention. I listened to that one with Raph on Verbal Tap. And I honestly think that's what it is. Like people who he would be fighting up in notoriety are probably he would be fighting down in technical proficiency. So it's a lose-lose situation. Unfortunately, he got so good in the one column that he's trying to build himself up at the character level, but everybody's like, "No, I'm going to get iced and look bad against this guy."
And this is what it fucking boggles my mind. You take a no name, like people who didn't hear him before, but
Mm.
like true fans knew how good he was. We saw all those other competitions, how he was heel hooking people at different tournaments,
Right,
leg
but that
locks.
doesn't move the promoter needle, right?
Yeah, it doesn't. But then he goes and smashes EBI. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking smashes it to where you're like, holy fuck, that kid is good. In my mind, I'd be like, if you're good and you want to make a name for yourself too, you would want to go against an EBI champ.
Well, I was trolling AJ Agazarm back and forth on one. I mean, he's one of those guys too that he gets in the comment section and shit just lights on fire. But I was going back and forth a little bit with him, and he was saying something about the way that I don't know. He was making fun of Gordon's girlfriend's nuts or something like that. And then somebody said,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
somebody made fun of him for hanging off of Nick Diaz's nuts. And I think the way it worked out, anyways, I ended up saying something to the effect of, well, clearly John Creliston's nuts are bigger than yours by orders of magnitude because you keep ducking him, essentially. And his only response was, "Oh yeah, because an EBI champ is really big news." I'm like, "Aha, that's your shield right there. He's not. He doesn't have the notoriety, right? You know that he's going to crush you, but you can just say, "Oh, he's an EBI champ. It doesn't count."
See, like, here's my fucking thing, man. People talk shit about both IBJJF. Like, I just talk shit because I think it's fucking funny about IBJJF. Yeah, they got a lot of fucking rules, but if you sign up to compete there, you can't fucking complain about the rules.
Hmm.
Yeah, the reffing sucks. The shit that happened to Keenan, man, that it's fucked up. But like at the end of the day, when you sign up on a certain rule set and you kind of know what's going against you, you can't be like too mad. But social media is the first one. If you make a post, man, they're willing to jump in behind you just to start that fucking fire when we see it. And listen, if you're a champ in IBJJF, so many people compete, especially at Worlds. If you're even in the fucking, if you're on that podium at Worlds, you're a fucking monster. That's all there is
100%.
to it. You put a lot of time and effort and much respect to you. EBI has grown so much. The people that they brought in, man, on especially on the no-gi side, and I love the rule set. Like I am always fucking entertained when I'm watching EBI. There is not a dull moment. Like some events, like some grappling events I get to watch, I have time to fucking make a shitload of memes because there's a lot of fucking stalling and downtime. But like when I'm watching EBI, and fuck, man, the ladies that they bring to EBI,
Oh
that
yeah,
last EBI,
yeah, that was intense.
holy shit, man! And now Grace Gundam's coming back. She's coming into like the 150, the 105ers or 110. I think she's competing in. I can't
The
remember, but
women's division is not looking forward to her getting into their level.
she is a fucking silent killer, and that's where like I am, man. When she first came on the scene, I was a huge fan of Grace. Like no shit talking, nothing, quiet. I'm in there to do business. I'm out. And then you see her training regimen. She trains with grown ass men.
Oh yeah. And you watch, like, I see little clips of live rolls of her against grown ass men, and she's, you know, fucking them up technically. Like they're
Yes.
trying hard to keep up. Um, she's like an anime character, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense in the real world. Like no, this is something that you see in Japanimation. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
it's
this
Matrix
this
shit.
little tiny silent girl that looks like she should be a porcelain doll. Just, oh, by the way, I'm gonna kill you, and then she walks away again like a silent porcelain doll. It's like, oh my god, you are so marketable.
Yeah, like that's the reason I'm a big supporter of EBI, a huge fan of. People can talk shit about the rule set, but I love it. I love the stuff Fight to Win puts on. I mean, you know what you're getting when you're watching the rule sets,
Hmm.
and I don't mind it. But to me, the most entertaining for me to watch is like I really enjoy watching EBI because I like their overtime. Like, man, you got to fucking
Yeah.
fight the submission. You're already dog shit tired. You're exhausted. And now you got to pick or choose your fucking poison. Oh, do I want my arm ripped off or do I want to get fucking
Yeah,
choked out? Oh,
exactly. We're
that
gonna
sounds like
put you
fun.
90% way submitted. Go.
Yeah, like to me, that's really interesting. I love ADCC. Like all the, I'm a fan of all of it. At the end of the day, I'm a fan of all of it. Like you can, and the reason I'm a fan of all of it is, man, some of the guys that do like IBJJF, man, especially the Mendez brothers, none of their matches were fucking boring, man.
No.
Holy shit. I was glued to there were sometimes I'd forget to breathe and I'd catch myself like, just to watch something, just the style and how fast they were moving and how technical at that speed they were. It was just amazing. And then you watch people like Keenan or JT Torres, man. I love watching him
Yeah.
and man. That dude is amazing.
Leandro
And
Lowe.
oh my god, dude, it's just it's disgusting, man. And I love watching some of these OGs that are still in it, and still
Mm-hmm.
pursuing it, and still
Mm-hmm.
training. Where some of us were just like, man, I don't mind being a hobbyist. My body is just so fucked up. I can't put myself through that anymore. It's amazing to watch these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. How old are you now? Like,
I'm going to be 43 in September, man.
okay.
And a lot of people are like, oh, that's pretty young in jiu-jitsu. I'm like, not if you've been doing
Uh,
it like 20 some years, man.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and training now compared to training back in the 80s and 90s is completely different. Like
How so?
especially 80. Now people train smarter, man. It's
Mm.
really cool. Like if you get an injury, people now are more supportive, and they'll be like, hey man, you should really lay off for a week. And people are smart enough to be like, hey man, if I really want to make a go at this, or I'm doing it to compete and do, they're actually smart and they listen.
Mhm.
You have better doctors now. You get like Shirasti, or you get like now even yoga is good to do. Like before, people would laugh at you like, oh, you should just do some yoga to help. They'd be like, fuck you, that's gay. I'm not doing yoga. It's a women's thing, you know. Back then, it's like, oh, you're injured. Well, then you're a pussy if you're not fucking rolling.
Right.
You work
Right.
through that shit, rub some dirt on it, and go. So, like, dude, my knees are shot. Like, I got to wear these like fucking RoboCop knee braces just so I can roll and still train with people. It's because you trained on those injuries. You listened to the wrong person. It wasn't because their ideas were bad. It's because we didn't have the information we have now medically. There's so much more information. You can look up your injuries online, and you can look on how to rest it. And you're smarter about it. Plus, we eat healthier. We train smarter. Back then, there was only one type of roll, especially here in the States. It was just to fuck up your partner as much as you could. Because you got to remember, in the 90s when we rolled, we didn't do it to compete. We trained to learn how to fight. Because a lot of us did MMA. We did cage fights. I even did underground cage fights when it was fucking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was crazy. There was some places that had these tournaments, like full contact fights, and they'd be on basketball courts, which were stupid. In a gymnasium.
Oh man,
yeah.
Joe Rogan would be so happy to hear that.
Yeah, and and this was like in Virginia, man. Like they had just like because they have these like little fucking MMA things, and they would call it full contact karate, but it was no rules karate. It was so funny, so you can take a guy down, and they would just like literally tape off like a square in a fucking basketball court, and they'd have it in the gymnasium. And you would just go and there were no weight classes, nothing like it was just so crazy, so unorganized. Maybe like 2 guys would show up, sometimes 3 guys would show up, sometimes 4. It was just the weirdest, most obscure shit when you look back at it now.
Yeah.
And you'd pay like $20 to enter, and then when they just have stupid little medals. They didn't even give you fucking money for it. It was so stupid.
Man, that's some Fight Club shit.
Yeah, and people saw that because the first UFC was so crazy to see. It was in '93. Yeah. So people are like, oh, we should really see what the best style was. And then back then, you even had fights at schools. Like you literally had dojo storms back then, which was crazy. I saw many dudes get their ass handed to them at Henzo's. Like that shit was on the norm, man. You would have these top level fighters come into Henzo's. This is in the 90s. And you would just watch them just get fucking destroyed, man, by guys 3 times smaller than them. And you were just amazed. And that's when I was like, holy fuck, man, I'm never going to a school and challenging someone. And, when I trained at Lloyd's earlier in my career, man, we had dojo. People came in and challenged Lloyd's school. And this is back when Lloyd was like, just got his purple belt.
Okay.
And this is way, there's like maybe only the original 6 of us. It was a really small knit group.
Wow.
And it's grown a lot now, but man, people would come in, like you get these crazy kung fu people that would come in and they'd have these like weird arts, like, oh, we can control our breathing to where we can't get choked out. I mean, just crazy shit, man.
I almost wish that some of that still existed. Like it does to a lesser extent. You see these McDojo Life videos going around where you're like, okay, yeah, you bitches is still out there. You're just scared to come in. I get it. But I almost wish that every now and again, no, I'm probably going to bring it on myself, that somebody would come in and do that at a modern day BJJ school. Because it's like you would be able to attest to the difference in the average skill of a modern competitor compared to the 90s. Like it would be walking into a wood chipper
Oh my god, man! Like in the '90s, it was like it was so archaic because no one really knew what a triangle choke was or a rear naked choke was. Like the jiu-jitsu guys, we knew that because those were the only moves they showed us for like the first year. It was the only move like we really worked. Like it was very simple but effective movement. And remember, jiu-jitsu back then was taught for fighting. It wasn't taught for sports. So there wasn't a lot of this like cool shit you see now, like berimbolo, fucking worm guard, stuff like that. It was literally meant when you went to jiu-jitsu school, you know you were going to be putting on some gloves sometime during that training session. You were going to be fighting. Like it was because you would do real life fucking drills, like where you would just get the shit mauled out of you, where a guy would start in a guard, put on some gloves, and try to beat the shit out of you. Literally try to block it, get his back or sweep and get up. Like it was really meant for the fight back then, which was really cool. I got to grow up in that era. I got to see what it was like. So when you had guys coming in and challenge, they had no idea what jiu-jitsu was. They just saw Hoist Gracie beat someone up and basically on fucking pay-per-view and cable saying all your other martial arts are shit because look at my Hoist, my 170-pound brother just wrecked all of you fuckers. And that was like the first slap in the face. And to me, it wasn't a slap in the face. It was a wake-up call.
That's right. Yeah.
People took it the wrong way. And that's what happens a lot. And that's what we see on social media today. People are taking it the wrong way. They did that. It was a good marketing thing, but it also opened, it should have been the biggest wake-up call where everybody's like, we all need to do that. Not like, no, we need to challenge and prove our shit's better.
Yeah, I mean that had been done for decades before. Look at the Zulu Hickson fight. You know, like back in
Oh my
Brazil,
God.
that's old news. It was new to North America, so they had to like show like, guys, we already did this. Trust me, it works. Oh, you don't believe me? I'll show you. Bring your best guys.
Yeah. And so when you'd have people come in and a lot of times most people that it was really funny. The ones we got challenged, the dojo storms I saw the most was for some reason it was always kickboxers and kung fu. I don't know why the kung fu guy. I don't know what fucking Kool-Aid they drank or who got the in their head or if they,
Yeah,
they've been watching those kung fu theater where the guy jumps like 20 feet onto the
that
roof of a
might be
fucking
part of it. Like the '70s, man, was big in kung fu. Kung fu was the word, right?
yeah, and those are the ones. Oh, and dude, a lot of the challenges too. There was, I remember one time we were at Radford, and my buddy Paul Creek. We actually started the first jiu-jitsu club out there, and we had all these Jeet Kune Do guys trying to do a dojo storm,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
which was really weird, man. And they said, hey, we don't want to hurt you guys, so we're going to wear the Jeet Kune Do gloves, those big Bruce Lee
yeah,
gloves that you
yeah.
saw.
They're like hockey gloves, eh?
Yeah, and me and Paul were like, "Is this shit real? Is this fucking happening?" And Paul was so funny, man. Paul's like, "You fucking Paul." I love Paul to death, man. He's a happy-go-lucky guy, but the fact like they stepped into the thing, he was like, "Because you choke him out, and then you pop his arm, and then so put him in a triangle choke and pop the dude's arm." And when he woke up, it was dislocated. He couldn't
Oh,
fucking. He had to literally get his arm popped back into place, and he still didn't believe he was choked out. He goes, "I wasn't out." And he was fucking because he believed like, oh, we have this breathing technique that we're not going to
wow.
get choked out, and we're trying to explain to him it's not breath, it's blood going to the brain that's getting cut off. And it was just one. Even though the guy lost, he still didn't accept it. It was just so weird. Like you had these moments. To now, you don't even see it in gyms. Like everything's a lot more peaceful. People understand that jujitsu is like a really effective sport. It's good. It's a good complement. I don't think you should just
Mm.
do one if you really want to be a well-rounded fighter.
So do you think that the dojo storms aren't around as much now because of the general understanding of the general populace, be it through MMA or just jujitsu in itself?
Yeah, and to me, I think dojo storms would be stupid trying to prove that you're the best style. Now there's so many competitions out there. If your style's that good, go compete against the world's best. You don't have to go to a dojo. I mean, and to me, if it's a beef between two people, let's say it's two instructors that don't fucking like each other, why do you have to get your students involved? Why do you have to bring that in there? You shouldn't. If it's your house of worship, you don't want to bring shit into it.
Yeah, that's a
You
good
would
point.
separate it, and you're trying to lead by example. So set something up on a main stage, and and it's so funny because back then, man, if you challenged somebody in the '90s, it wasn't like, oh, we're just going to grapple to see who's the best grappler. It was a bare knuckle fight, and that
Hmm.
was it. You challenged somebody. It was about fighting. It wasn't about, oh, my berimbolo is better than yours, or I can fucking heal it, man. People were going to walk away bloody, man. And the first glimpse of that is when they started posting when the Gracie in action video came out,
Right, right.
and that was man, that was real shit. They're like, yeah, we're gonna like when you challenge somebody back then, it wasn't a challenge to see whose grappling is better. It was like who's a better fighter and who has more effective technique, and that's what it was truly about. And that's why you're starting to see now the OGs of the generation, like And I hate some of these BJJ articles that are coming out. They literally just start controversy and talk shit, like they're saying, like Hickson Gracie thinks sport jujitsu is completely fucking useless, and they take shit out of
Yeah, they go
context
to the
to
full end of hyperbole, eh?
yeah, and they get this clickbait, and they just and I hate when they even put pictures of people who didn't even say that shit. Like they just put like Alio Gracie on the fucking clickbait thing,
Yeah.
saying sport jujitsu is fucking sucks ass, and dude, he's been dead for years. It's like how would he say that shit? And it's like they're purposely trying to start shit. Um, and like when you get into an argument, like what's better teaching self defense? You got to go to this Gracie Jiu Jitsu school or this academy or Krav Maga. This is one topic that comes up when I get asked a lot, like when I do these Q&A sessions. Like, what's the best defense? I tell everybody, man, if you truly want to be well-rounded, you shouldn't just look into like jujitsu, kickboxing, shit like that. It's a savage world out there, especially here in like fucking Houston, Texas, man, where there's tons of shootings every night. Same as in
Mm.
LA and Chicago. Like, you should be well versed in everything. You should be well versed with the gun. And I know there's like a lot of anti-gun people out there, but you got to be well versed in the environment you're going to be in. It's plain and simple. If you're going to live in a certain area with certain crimes or certain types of assault patterns, whether it be with knives, guns, robbery, shit like that, you got to be prepared for it. And trust me, man, I train with a lot of military guys. And when you start doing like live fire, SWAT situations, house entries, um, man, all that shit with like jujitsu and how am I going to punch this guy? All that shit's out the window, man. It's how accurate and how quickly you can get that trigger going. Good sight pattern. I mean, and that's what I always tell people. I'm like, if I'm telling you like this is going to be the best self defense, I'd be fucking lying. Be well rounded, but you got to be mindful. It depends what if you go to a place like, let's say you go to Japan where there's like no one really has guns and shit like that. Then yeah, I would say yeah, fuck, do Krav Maga, do something that's going to be a lot of hand to hand. I mean, shit.
Yeah, this is a age old beaten dead horse when it comes to what the best self defense is because it always comes down to the situation at hand. Like there was you remember a video that came out a while ago of Ryan Hall at a restaurant beating up a drunk
Yes.
or holding him down essentially and
Yeah.
choking him a couple times. Um, there was people that were shitting on him. Saying that he wasn't working his guard. He loves playing his guard in sports situation, right? And he hit a double leg and went to the mount on this guy. And he's like people were like, oh, so clearly what you do doesn't work when you need it, right? And he had the best response. It was in an interview where he was bringing this up later, and he said, if you don't understand that situation dictates tactics, you can't be helped.
True, man. Yeah, that's very well said.
Yeah.
It really is, and I always tell people it's the environment you're in. That's the type of self defense you need to learn. Like, I mean, fuck, have you like people are like, oh, Krav Maga is useless. It's all this weapon shit and stuff. Like, if you look at true Krav Maga, people who like train it over in Israel, the ones that are getting ready for like special forces and shit, you see the training they do and the environment they have to deal with every day, man. Holy fuck, man! I know people make fun of Krav Maga here, and they see like knife takeaways and shit, but I think a lot of it's been diluted. Like you
It's a
go and actually
Starbucks
train.
version here.
Yeah, it's you. If you go like straight to the source, and like if you see how military combatants train, like if you get
Hmm.
to go to one of those and go on a base and see how they train, it's man, it's a different world when you add on like I don't know 60 pounds of armor, and then you're carrying a
Yeah.
weapon as well. There's a lot of shit that goes on. I mean, and if you're like, here's another thing too. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe I got fucking mugged at 1 a.m. walking home from a bar. This used to be a nice area. Like motherfucker, look at your surroundings. And two, when was the last time you remember anything good happening after fucking 10 o'clock at
Yeah.
night? It just does. There's like certain rules you have when you're going out, especially in heavy, dense populated cities. Where there's dense populated cities, yeah, there's suspect of crime, and crime's based on opportunity. And if you're out late and it's generally after 10 o'clock, there's that rule I have from like 10 at night till about 4 in the morning. Each hour that you go on through that night, your percentages go up for something bad to happen to you.
Yeah.
But we have this misconception like, oh, I'm safe. It hasn't happened to me before. I'll go fucking walk myself home. I'm only like a mile away. And it's like 1 in the morning. And then they're shocked that, oh my God, I can't believe I got mugged.
Yeah, well, that's why it works so well, right? You got people who are just ignorant that believe they live in this Disneyland world, and
Yeah.
like we're mentioning, like the situation is everything. In my opinion, if the situation is a one-on-one encounter with no weapons, jujitsu is your best option. If you add a knife, a gun, a bat, three more people to the mix, then things get a little more gray.
No, that's when fucking running is
Yeah,
amazing.
that's a great idea. You know what? I trained for 2 years in Filipino weapons arts called Ilustrisimo Cali. And I trained with one of the two grand masters of his style in the world. For whatever reason, he relocated to Canada and I got to train with him for 2 years. So he's straight from the source. He grew up with the guy who invented the style down in the Philippines, lived with him for 30 years, had been in multiple situations where he had to fight his way out of, gang violence involving knives and guns. And I asked him, like, if you got in an altercation and felt you had to protect yourself, what is the move that you would use? What's the move I gotta know to protect myself? And he takes out his knife and he says, I carry this with me all the time. He puts it back in his pocket and he's like, if I ever need it, my move is to run. He said, if you can ever run, the only reason you should ever have to get in any type of sort of altercation that could involve you going to the hospital, the only reason would be because there's a brick wall between you and the person that's blocking your entrance, or there's someone you love behind you. There's no other reason.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and I think people's ego sometimes gets the better of them, and especially like you said, man, like if you're in like a bar setting, there is no fucking one on one, there is no fair fight. There's always that mob mentality where everybody starts swinging whether they know you or not. I've seen that like countless of times at bars. And it's just one of those things like there you can train as much, you can learn a great self-defense, but when it comes to multiple attackers, man, they're just, if you have a good option, you have a clear path to get the hell out of there, man. Safety first.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I don't think that's why people train jujitsu anyways. They don't go into it thinking, I'm going to defend myself against six guys, and maybe that's why these kung fu styles in the movies got that type of cult mentality because they gave the illusion that you can do that. That's what you're training to do, to fight 20 guys off as they come in one at a time and do karate moves that you block.
Oh man, fucking because of Steven Seagal, man, Aikido was like everybody started going to like Aikido, man. Everybody was using fucking Aikido. It was the craziest shit.
It's a
Because
perfect
I remember,
example.
yeah, man. So I remember I got to help out. So like jujitsu, a lot of us practitioners and instructors, we get to work with a lot of military, police. And then I remember after fucking Steven Seagal came out, every police department wanted to bring in all these fucking Aikido instructors, which is hilarious. And one of the dudes I was training at the time was like, dude, he goes, just come with it. I want you to see what my police department's putting in, and then I want you kind of just to sit back, help out, and maybe critique it, and then maybe we'll bring you in. And I don't want to be a dick, but I do want to see what they're teaching your guys because, this is when I was living in the DC area. So, I mean, there was a lot of people getting shot, a lot of people getting stabbed. It was like the fucking Wild West back then in like late 90s. It was crazy. So we go up there and he's showing like all these like great fucking wrist locks and throws to people who were like just great ukis, like people who wanted
Yeah.
to be thrown. So I said, all right, how about we put on the red man suit? And the red man suit is that all padded up, it's all red and like really like they're like a bullet sponge. You can get a fucking hit with the bat, you really don't feel much. And so I was a role player. They put me in this thing and they let me attack this Aikido guy. And man, none of his wrist locks work, none of his stuff worked. But he tried to blame it on the suit, and then he realized it wasn't practical. What was practical, if you were close and you were in a close combat situation, a lot of the times, like wrestling to takedown and then disengage and create distance was like one of the best things. And it was like unheard of back then because all these people saw the movies and they got this in their mind.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, if I do this wrist lock, I could fucking throw this guy to the ground and then handcuff him. And a lot of it didn't work. And then think about this, like it's summertime and you're dealing with someone who's extremely sweaty
Yeah.
with like no shirt on. I
Yeah.
mean, even in grappling, it's hard to control someone,
Yeah,
let alone
exactly. That's when
Aikido.
you need the grappling the most, right? When you've got these variables. Like I always I get concerned when I hear that police officers aren't training jujitsu, and it's not because I'm thinking they need jujitsu to stop a hostage situation. It's clearly like again, it's a situation, but they are expected and required to use restraint on people who don't want to be restrained, and that is jujitsu. That's it. It's not wrist locks, and it's not pressure points, and it's not perfect throws as someone leaps towards you. It's jujitsu, and it stops that person who's legitimately not or won't stop resisting. Right, when they're saying stop resisting, nobody, they don't say that because they expect someone to stop resisting. They're saying that to sort of, cover themselves legally while they literally restrain a guy who doesn't want to be restrained.
Yeah, and I here's the thing, man. Like, fucking no one wants to be strained. It's a fucking horrible feeling whether you did something right or wrong, or you didn't even do shit. You were just a wrong guy at the
Sure.
fucking right place, you know. And it's
Well,
I
what's
think it goes even further than that. Is like you see a lot of there are no health standards you see in a lot of these professions that you would want someone to be healthy.
hmm,
Like especially like law enforcement, there's no set standard like you have to pass a health test, like running, being healthy, eating
right?
clean.
Like if you're in the SEALs, right?
Yeah, man. Like, here's my thing: if you gotta sit there, enforce laws, but also protect the life and property of others and yourself, like to me, I would always want to be in top physical shape
Yeah, for
because
your
there's
own
going to be,
safety, if nothing else.
yeah, and I think a lot of people get kind of rely too much. Oh, my taser's going to work, or oh, if it gets too crazy, I can just shoot them. But there's going to be moments where you
Yeah.
can't. Like, you just don't shoot someone just because they're fucking trying to fight back at you. And sometimes those guys, the tasers don't work, or you don't get it out quick enough, and
Yeah.
you're going to be in a scuffle.
And this is the other thing I was going to say is what is your option if you don't have jujitsu and have to restrain someone? You're going to move to that nuclear option a lot faster.
Yeah, no, it is. And like I wish they would implement like even if they don't enjoy jujitsu or something, like fucking wrestle, man. Wrestling's a great control. I mean, some of the worst pain I've ever felt and been controlled on have been some against some top level wrestlers, man. It
Hmm.
was it was insane. You want to talk about being restrained? Holy shit, man.
Yeah, well, Texas, you got some of the best wrestlers out there too.
We got dude, and it's so crazy. I some of them they don't even fucking lift weights now. They're just country strong, man, baling hay every fucking day. Just, Jesus Christ, man. It's insane, and it's so funny here. The reason to me I keep my conditioning and my cardio up so high at my age is, man, these kids today are bigger, stronger, faster, and just to be able to roll and keep up with them, I have to do extra training at my age just to keep my cardio at a high level. It's insane.
I'm surprised I haven't talked or touched on this subject yet, but do you run your own school?
It's funny, man. Being a nomad, it's awesome. So I get to teach and train at different gyms, and I travel so much. And what's really cool is the main one I teach out of here is Revolution Dojo. He's got two schools, Jeff Messina, and we just had like some belt promotions the other day, which is really cool. We're both different affiliations, but we both have the same mentality. We both started in the '90s, and we both agree it's about having different instructors, whether the lineage is different or the association is different, is to give the best product to the students at hand. And when you have different instructors with different styles, they're going to be able to develop their own independent styles, which and that's what you should do. You should promote individuality. You
Yeah.
should promote that because I hate these boilerplate schools, these McDojos to where everybody has to kind of fall in the same line and do the same thing. At the end of the day, like the people I want to be around are the people that are creative, the ones that inspire others and inspire themselves, and that they go to these classes because they feel comfortable around us. They feel like they can trust us to be themselves
Yeah.
and play the game they want to play. We all have different body types. We all have different cardio levels. We all have different lengths, strengths that our games are not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so I never wanted to have my own school. I always wanted. So what I do is I travel to all these amazing schools like Marcelo Garcia's, Henzo's in New York, Shaolin's in New York. I love that school, man. I like going back there because that's kind of like my roots where I started. So I always
Okay.
go back and pay homage. And then I met a lot of people like Keith Owen, James Foster, REK, just great people to go and travel and train with. And then whatever I get, I bring it back to the schools. And so any school that I'm training or teaching at, I bring back everything I learned and I share the knowledge. I tell people I'm a jujitsu encyclopedia. I'm here for them to get as much knowledge as they can from me and to learn from them as well. And to add into my encyclopedia to make it bigger because at the end of the day, it's how can I make this sport better? One is how can I make this sport better, the art better? Everybody because they get pissed when you say sport. They're like, it's an art. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about sport jiu-jitsu, it's one different thing.
It's just splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah. And two, and when I say number two, it's actually like my main goal, and I want people to love jujitsu as much as I do. Like just talking about jujitsu, you see me light up. I just get like super happy, and it's just infectious. And I want people to love it that much. And that was my main goal, and that's the whole reason like kind of classic grappler was just started, because when I go to schools, I didn't want people being like, "Oh, that's so and so under this association." They're
Right.
like, "Oh, it's classic grappler, man. It's a funny guy. He likes to have fun, but he likes to train and teach and share knowledge." And that's the way I wanted it, because it's different. Because kind of like if you're from a different association and you show up, people are kind of like eyeballing you, and it's just animosity. Every room I've ever walked in, every school I've ever walked in, man, people just chuckle as soon as I walk in or laugh, and then it's just smiles. We train hard, we get at it, man. And I love that. And here's another rule I do: I only show up when I go to these schools, especially for the first time. I go to comp classes.
Okay.
I don't do, and here's why. And I think more people should do it. Don't go to the regular class and then get pissed off because someone sees you and tries to. At higher belts, or when you go into someone else's school, it's their home. They're going to challenge you. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're going to come at you. So I hate when people make this post. Oh, I went to this school. They came at me. Blah blah blah. It's another black belt. And I'm like, well, what did you expect? So don't get pissed off about it. To rectify that situation, just show up to their comp class, because you know what roles you're going to get. You got people that are fucking there to just rip heads off. They're there to compete. And so I made it a rule for myself, because I never want to go just like to a regular class and then like we're rolling light and then you get some spaz that like gets at you and you're like
Yeah, yeah.
upset about it because it kind of ruins the experience. So in my opinion, it was just easier because I traveled a lot. I would just purposely show up to the comp class, and then you would not only do you do that, you break bread with them, you earn respect.
Yeah. No, that's a good move. I like that. So, have you got any seminars coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Shit, man. What's funny? Every seminar I do, I don't know if people recognize it or not. I donate all the money from the seminars. I don't keep 1 cent from it.
Oh, hot damn.
Yeah, I don't. And so that's, people wonder how I keep getting picked up for seminars. I do it for good causes. I never did jujitsu to make money. Luckily other stuff provides money for me. I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's about building bonds and showing people that you can do really good things with jiu-jitsu. And like the biggest thing now is I'm doing the We Defy Foundation. So every seminar I do, like all the money goes back to that. I don't know if you guys know Alan
right?
Shabaro. That dude's amazing. If you ever have someone to talk to and you want someone interested on, get Alan Shabaro. This dude is fucking amazing. Like he's high level military, trained the best of the best. Has a jiu-jitsu school in McKinney and started the We Define. It's a nonprofit organization to help military veterans. So so everything I'm doing, any seminars I'm doing, I donate all the money to that.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's actually really inspiring. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, man. Jiu-jitsu has been so positive in my life. But like I said, like if you do good things, people will realize, and hopefully it'll get them to love the sport as much as me, because it is a constant sport that gives back. And even with all the hate and the bullshit online that you see, man, when someone is really down in this sport or they're injured or they're hurt, this community, man, holy fuck, they get together, man. They'll do fundraisers. I mean, shit, when we had the bad hurricanes here, man, and people lost their homes, everybody was donating money, giving them a place to live, help them rebuild the house, tear it down. I mean, that's why I love this community. There's some bullshit on the internet, the social media, yeah, but at the end of the day, man, this is one of the strongest communities that you will ever be a part of.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that too, because really, at the end of the day, we're all just people, and we're all doing something that we all love. So I think that the divisions themselves are fake. Like they don't belong to the real spirit of what we're doing. So I'm super happy to hear that you're on that no politics train, and keep it rolling, man. It's been a ton of fun having you on Classy. Is there anything else that you wanted to say or plug any of your
Oh,
online
yeah.
stuff?
And you know what? Since we're fucking plugging stuff, man, my boy Nathan Hughes over at Continuous Flow, thank you for everything, man. Everybody's asking, where do I get my crazy rash guards and these crazy insane gis, man? Please check them out. They've been an amazing sponsor. And the reason I say that is everything they do, when we do collaborations, they donate as well. They've done, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they donated all the proceeds that we did from certain rash guards. So they're an amazing company. So go check them out if you can, and check out the We Defy Foundation with Alan Shabaro.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. We'll be back next time with you, me, and Us. Take care, guys. See you later.